That's good. All right, hello. I figured I'd get in front of the camera because I want to talk about how the climate change affects the psychology of climate change and how can affect people. Everybody obviously is going to react differently from to the changing climate in our planet. And the climate is changing everywhere. You can run, but you really can't hide from climate change, which is why it has to be addressed. But I want to talk about how it's affected me and how the lack of sunlight is really getting me down. The climate here is getting cloudier and more humid. So those are two things that are difficult for me. Cloudy obviously means you're not going to have the sun out. You're not going to have the blue sky. You're not going to get outside as much as you'd like to. Obviously, I'm somebody who likes to go hiking. I like to go to the parks, I like to go to the Pine Barrens, especially the Pine Barrens. But unfortunately, because the weather has been so gloomy, you can go on a cloudy day. Nothing is stopping you from going on a cloudy day, but it's hard to get motivated because, if it's a cloudy sky, your video is not going to look good. Your pictures aren't going to look good. And if you're taking pictures of birds, particularly if it's a really thick overcast, which is like we've had, there's not enough light to get the shutter speed required to capture birds because birds are very fast. So that's part of the reason why I don't really like going on cloudy days. We have seen a lot of cloudy weather lately, and it just seems like the past couple of years it's just been getting worse and worse and worse with these cloudy spells just going on and on and on. This is all because of the Western Atlantic Ridge, because the jet stream is stalling the normal dry flow that we have from Canada, from the middle of the country, is not being allowed to come to the East Coast because of the Western Atlantic Ridge. That ridge is due to climate change. It's becoming almost a permanent fixture in the ocean to some extent, blocking the fronts from coming through, causing stall fronts, which is what we're dealing with right now. If that ridge wasn't there, we would be having the dry air coming in from the middle of the country, from Canada, and we'd be having a nice spring. But unfortunately, that's not happening. And the cloudy weather is what I love. I love going outside, and I can't do that. It makes you depressed. Also, the lack of vitamin D, because sunlight helps us generate vitamin D, and now we can't because there's not that much sunlight. We're not getting vitamin D, so this has had a bad effect on me because climate change, has basically made my life much more difficult psychologically. And then we get to the point of where it's more difficult physically, which is humidity. Now, I've never dealt with heat and humidity well throughout my entire life. I've always had a very high sensitivity toward heat and humidity, especially when you have the humidity. All right, and once when I was a kid, before my parents, my folks knew that, I live with my parents are divorced, but I'm not going to get that. But went to summer camp and they didn't know that I had this sensitivity, and and it was a day camp and we were outside all day. I almost got heat stroke. I almost had to go to the hospital. I got a bad headache. I was flushed. I felt faint. I felt nauseous. I was extremely dehydrated. And I was drinking water, but it's like my body just couldn't cool down. And it's been like that my whole life. I can't handle, especially when it's humid out. That combination, the humidity is getting much higher. We're experiencing much more humid air than we used to here. It's not so much that the temperatures are actually getting warmer during the summer or even during the spring, though they are getting warmer during the winter. It is that the humidity, we're having way more days where it's humid all the time. And you're not supposed to see humidity traditionally in this climate on Long Island. We're not supposed to see it until at least toward the end of June. All right, traditionally, but now we're seeing it. We can have humid days at any time of the year. Even in the middle of the winter, you can have a humid day, and that's getting worse. Obviously, it's even worse in New Jersey, where not only are they dealing with the humidity, but they're also dealing with more humidity than we are, and they're dealing with a lot more heat than we are, because they don't have the moderating effect of the sea breeze in New Jersey, so they're dealing with it even worse. And that's why New Jersey is inhospitable for me. I would never be able to survive without some kind of cooling suits. I've seen videos of these cooling suits on. I don't think any of them really work. Or maybe they work if you got a car. But if you're traveling somewhere, some of these they're not going to work in the Pine Barrens. There's no way. And again, a lot of them also depend on evaporative cooling, and when it's humid, you're not going to get that evaporative cooling. So that's not a way to deal with the heat. I have to deal with it by staying inside, unfortunately, when it's really hot and humid out. So the two things that keep me inside are the heat and humidity together, and cloudy weather, and we're having a lot more of that lately. Um, is having to move to a different climate going to be something I'm going to have to do? I don't want to. I love, despite all of its problems, Long Island is still, I think, the best place for me to live. But the patterns that we're getting into with the weather are very disturbing with the climate change going on. And this is why something has to be addressed, because you can't really run away from climate change. Yeah, you can go to somewhere like Flagstaff where it is sunnier, uh, and where they don't have the humidity, but they don't have the variety of biodiversity that we have on Long Island. To some extent, they do have beautiful pines, but they don't really have many lakes. It's kind of like a high desert. It doesn't really. Basically, the two ways you can escape the increasing humidity and cloudiness from climate change is either head to a higher latitude or head to a higher altitude. So those are your two ways to fight climate change. You can either go north, all right, go up north into Canada. Canada is beautiful, but there are no pine barrens there. All right, it's not, it's beautiful, but there are no pine barrens. I'll make that clear. Um, or you can go to Flagstaff or the high desert parts of Arizona or Colorado where there are pines, but and that increases your altitude. But also with an increase in altitude, you also have increased solar radiation. So in a way, it can feel hotter from the sun, and you can still deal with the effects of the heat. Our climate is changing very rapidly, and I think that we need to do something about it, because there are a lot of people who are having psychological effects from this climate change. It's causing, I think, worsening mental health, and we already need to look into geoengineering the weather at this point. That's what I'm going to talk about in this video. What I think we need to do to stop this. First of all, the rich. All right, there's got to be a way to get rid of that rich. How do we do it? I don't know. But, let's put our resources into it and see how we can get our weather back to normal, all right? Because I want the carbon emissions cut, but right now, even if we stopped emitting all the greenhouse gases right now, it's still going to get worse. We have to actually actively mitigate the climate emergency we are in. And we need to do that by, there are several ways to do that. One of them is to mimic or trigger a major volcano to erupt, to eject dust into the stratosphere. Now, similar effects have happened after Mount Pinatubo, and to a greater extent in the 1800s when Mount Tambora and Krakatoa erupted. They actually caused a couple of good 5 years of cooling. So we need to figure out how to trigger these volcanoes to go off, all right? Because we trigger them, we can evacuate people from the areas around the volcanoes, and we need to trigger them. I don't know which ones are the most likely to we can trigger, but we need to look into that. Or find our own way to mimic volcano eruptions by getting dust into the stratosphere to reduce the solar radiation. That's one thing we can do so we can cool the planet down. The second thing we need to do is find a way to cool the oceans down. All right, the oceans are very warm, and that's a big part of the effects we're seeing right now. Is we're having a lot more clouds and humidity because the oceans are warmer than they're supposed to be. When you go across the world, in 80% of the oceans, there are above what they're supposed to be, the sea surface temperatures. But down below, at the bottom of the ocean, the water is still very cold. So we've got to figure out a way to pump that cold water to the surface to cool the sea surface temperatures. I have these pumps. They'd be triggered by actual wave action, and you can actually have these pumps all across the ocean to cool the surface of the oceans down. And that's something that we also need to do. As far as the ice, that's another thing. The ice is melting very rapidly up north, and the less ice we have, the more solar radiation gets absorbed, and the more heat, which melts the more ice. It's like a feedback cycle, basically. So we need to think about how we can stop that. I don't know, but this is what we need. The climate change is the greatest threat to this country right now, and it's having severe psychological effects on me. I love being outside. I love a nice blue sky, and we're not getting that anymore. You can go days and weeks and weeks and not get one clear day. When I was younger, even when I first started hiking, I would say I started hiking in the mid 2000s. We had a lot of nice days. I remember I went to the Pine Barrens so much more often back then. I must have been able to go like, I'm trying to think here, at least a couple times a week. And now it's just a couple times a month. And that, because of that, it's caused me depression. It's caused me to gain weight. So one of my viewers commented that you were way happier back then. And that really hit the nail on the head. Yes, I was in some ways, even though I was living in Westbury. Westbury at the time was not as bad, and also there was a lot nicer weather, so I was able to get outside, get to the Pine Barrens more. And now we just have these endless cloudy days, one after another, after another, after another, after another, and all this rain. It feels like you're in a rainforest almost. Everything can't even dry out. It's also triggering my allergies because I'm allergic to mold. So when it's very humid, it causes my allergies to get a lot worse. The humidity makes me sick. I can't deal with extreme humidity. And that's what, it wasn't like this years ago. We didn't have all this humidity. Long Island was not such a humid place. The Northeast was not such a humid place. It's because of climate change. And I want to stay right here, but obviously, if the climate continues to go this way and there's no action from the government, and a lot of it's got to do with if Trump gets reelected, a couple of years down the road, who knows? I may have to leave the whole Northeast and go somewhere else to a climate that's better for me, because it feels like I've aged quite a bit. This weather is really taking its toll on me. I don't have because of my situation, it's not like I can go on a vacation and go somewhere where it's sunnier and go to Flagstaff. If I could, I would. I'd go somewhere where it was sunnier, where I could see some pines. But that's not happening because I don't have the money for that. If you want to travel to Flagstaff or plane, you have to pay for the plane. You have to pay for the hotel. You could go with Greyhound, but Greyhound is absolutely horrible. I would not recommend it. It's it's not something I can do. For the people who have money, they can get away. They can go somewhere where the sun is out. They can go somewhere where the air is dry and the sun is out. I mean, May, when I was growing up, May was like a month where you had sunny days, temperatures in the 70s, low humidity. It was a very beautiful month. You always had a good amount of sunny days. And now you're not getting those sunny days anymore. You're getting lots of these cloudy days. It's like a damp month every year after year after year. May is getting just very more, and then the summer starts, and it's just humid all summer, humid and gloomy all summer. You have a lot of cloudy days, a few sunny days, but a lot of cloudy days. And this is a concern of mine, because it's bad for my health. Climate change is affecting my health, and I'm sure it's affecting a lot of other people too. This is a big problem, and we need again, the media doesn't talk about it. Trump has been a complete disaster. Trump, he's been, how I feel about him, and the media just loves to talk about him like he's some kind of superstar or something. The guy. I'm gonna just talk a few minutes about Trump in this video because I feel I have to. Trump is like a Pandora's box, and I wish I saw it. I wish other people saw it. Obviously, I can't stand him, but I did vote for him because the alternative was Hillary Clinton. Because he was saying he was going to, do some things that looked like they were going to be good for the country, but obviously he hasn't. He is caused. Basically, Donald J. Trump has made selfishness and arrogance cool. He's made it cool. And so everybody wants to act like that now, especially white people. All right? A lot of them idolize him. And, it's like they just idolize him. They idolize Ivanka. They idolize Jared Kushner. They all want to be all these preppy, arrogant people. All right? It's like he's created some kind of disease that's run rampant in this country right now. And he is a dangerous person. All right? Dangerous. The mentality that he has caused across this whole country is very dangerous. And I feel that something needs to be done. Obviously, he cannot be reelected again. If he gets reelected, God help us. God help this country if he gets reelected. I don't know what to say. Joe Biden better get the nomination. All right, there are a couple of Bill de Blasio wants to run for president. All right, I mean, the Democrats have to pick Joe Biden. He's the only one who can really beat Donald Trump. All right. And I know Joe Biden will put climate change back as a priority in this country because that's the number one thing that we got to worry about right now. We're in a climate emergency. All right. We've got to be taking action. All right. And yesterday I made a video talking about New Jersey wants to ban all bags, not just plastic bags, but all bags. Here we go going after the bags again. It's easy for them to scapegoat the bags. What about all these gas-guzzling SUVs and pickup trucks that people are driving that they don't really need? It's not like they're living on some dirt road in the middle of the mountains. They got this huge truck, the pickup truck is becoming like the quad cabs. They're becoming like the family car. This is ridiculous. These things need to be off the road. They emit 5 times as much greenhouse gas as a car. And then you have a president that just wants to keep drilling for oil. That's all he wants to do. He has made selfishness cool again. He has made hate cool again. He has taken this country back so many years. So many years. If I had to do over, and if I could go back in time on that election day, I would have voted for Jill Stein of the Green Party. All right, I still wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton. I would have voted for Jill Stein. Had I known what a piece of garbage Trump was going to be. I should have seen it. I didn't see it. I should have seen it, but I didn't. All right? But at least I know I can come forward today and say, that was a huge mistake. All right? It's unfortunate that a lot of other people still support this president. And you'll just say, oh, the economy's doing great. The rich are doing great. The Wall Street people are doing great. The finance professionals are doing great. Everybody else is suffering, man. All right? That's what they don't tell you on the media. Because the media, people like say, oh, the media is left-wing. No. The media loves him. The media loves him. Don't tell me that. If anything, the media is right-wing. Because the media only cares about again, those finance professionals. I don't want to go into, that's not the subject of this video. It's about climate change. All right? But I'm saying we're in a climate emergency. And I think that's the biggest threat to Long Island right now is climate change, a.k.a. global warming. Not only is it bad for us and our health because we're not getting sunshine because of all these clouds, due to stall front syndrome, due to that blasted ridge in the Atlantic, all right? But also because it puts us at risk for hurricanes. It puts us at risk for sea level rise, which is going to hurt our coastlines, all right? That's the biggest threat on Long Island right now. But nobody sees that. Everybody keeps wanting to drive in the huge SUVs and pickup trucks. And we got to do something about it, all right? I love this country. I believe in our sovereignty as a nation, but I think the world needs to put its foot down and tell us, you can't be doing this anymore. I think the UN needs to come in and step in and start imposing sanctions on this country if we don't get our act together with climate change, all right? And what do I mean by getting our act together? I mean, we got to stop burning fossil fuels like it's going out of style. We got to have a moratorium on drilling. No more drilling. Let's get these pickups and SUVs off the roads. Let's switch over to electric cars. Let's get people on mass transit. And because even if we did all that, it's still not going to be enough. We are going to need to we have the technology to combat this. But nobody's making it a priority right now. We need to do something. Right? I can't, if it keeps going this way, I can't survive here because I can't take the humidity. Psychologically, I can't stand being indoors all the time. I need to go live somewhere where I'm outdoors. It may have to be Flagstaff. I don't know. It's got to be somewhere where it's Pine Barrens. But Flagstaff, like I said, the transportation, I'm going to have to figure out how to drive, how I'm going to do that. I don't want to think about that. That's enough to give me an anxiety attack. I can't imagine living anywhere else in my life than on Long Island. But we got to make our weather great again. All right, there it is. We got to make our weather better. All right, we got to actively mitigate climate change. All right, we need to do everything in our power, make it a priority. I don't care how much it costs because our planet is priceless right now. All right, and we've got to we've got to fix the problem that we're having. All right, and we've got to cool this planet down because what we're seeing right now, all these clouds, all this humidity, all this rain, all this weather instability is all due to climate change. It's all due to the warming of the Arctic, which makes the difference between the poles and the equator less, and it causes the jet stream which moves supposed to move our weather along to get stuck and kinked up, and that's what's going on. That's why we have the ridge. That's why we have stall front syndrome. That's why we're dealing with all these clouds. Um, you know, I talk about how the white collar professionals and snobs or whatever, or trying to ruin Long Island, but actually, I think the biggest threat to Long Island is climate change. It's a bigger threat than them. It's a bigger threat than illegals. It's the biggest threat of all. Think about what warmer, more humid conditions are going to bring. Fire ants. We're gonna have imagine having fire ants. Yeah, that's what they have down south. We're gonna have killer bees. The kissing bug. They got to worry about that. That's some bug that came from Central America that spread some kind of disease. We got to worry about all these insect-borne illnesses that are going to start coming our way because it's too warm in the winter. The bugs don't get killed off. So we can't afford to do nothing about climate change. And I don't care how many times I have to come here and make videos talking about climate change and how serious of a threat climate change is to our lives. Maybe it's not affecting you yet. Maybe you don't see it. But for me, it's affected me drastically. It's caused me to be much more depressed. It's caused me to be much more sicker physically. I've put on weight because of it, over the years because I'm not getting hiking enough. I'm not outside enough because it's dreary. It's humid. It's disgusting. Where's the sunshine? Where's the dry air? Where's the blue sky? We're not getting any of that anymore. This is not normal, people. Wake up. Wake the hell up. This is not normal. So, I don't want to have to live in Flagstaff, but if the weather stays like this, I don't know. I can't survive this. I'll tell you that. I can't survive this. Because I want to live a long life, and, climate change is going to cut my life short one way or another if we don't do something about it. I think I'm going to try to wrap. I want this video to be about 25 minutes, but it has it has a very serious effect on people. People can't get outside and exercise because it's too humid, because it's raining. People put on weight. It causes more obesity in this country. It causes a decline in physical health because people aren't getting outside. Because the weather is bad, all right? And it seems like every year goes by, we have less and less nice weather. And right now, we are in a really bad pattern. And it just seems like we keep getting these patterns more and more, and the weather just gets stuck for weeks and weeks on end. That's not supposed to happen. The weather's not supposed to get stuck. It's supposed to move along. But it's getting stuck because the jet stream is, like I said before, the jet stream is slowing down. It's wavier. And therefore, weather patterns just get stuck. And this weather pattern we've been stuck in, there's no end in sight to it. It continues, and it's bad for spring. It's bad for people who want to go outside. It's bad for our economy. It's bad for our mental health. It's bad for our physical health. And we need to make this a priority. We can do it. We're supposed to be very smart here. But Trump has made us a lot more stupid, and we have to get Trump out of the picture. We have to defeat him on Election Day. I really think he should be impeached. I honestly think the UN should step in. It's very radical, but I think the UN should step in and remove him from power because he's a threat to the world. All right? Very radical statement, I understand. But he is a threat to the world. He needs to be removed. And we need to put somebody in place who is going to put climate change first. We need every country in this world to make climate change a priority. And I'm not saying there are other countries out there that are polluting too, like Russia, like China. But you know what? China, people pick on China. China's putting a lot more money in the mass transit than we are. All right? The United States, under Trump, has decided... I'm going to go on a tangent again. But the United States, under Trump, has gone backwards. We have, after years and years and years of lowering our fossil fuel emissions, they've went way up under him. The guy is a menace. He needs to be removed from power. All right? Him and all of his kind. Like Kushner, all those people. All right? And the more he stays in power, the worse things are going to get. And if he does, God forbid, get reelected, it's over. It may not just be over for the United States, it may be over for the world. The guy is like a Pandora's box, and we need to close that Pandora's box. It's been open for way too long right now. All right? That's it. That's the way I feel about it. He's committed a lot of crimes. He should be in jail. All right. But, let's just get him out as president. Let's just have him removed from power right now. All right. And, that's the way I feel about it. And, let's hope that Joe Biden can beat Donald Trump. All right. Joe Biden has my vote. All right. Even if I don't agree with everything he says, Donald Trump has to be defeated. He is the worst president this country has ever had. People need to realize that, and like I said, he's let me down, obviously, about some things, but you know what? The only thing he's done has make America worse. He's made America worse than it's ever been. He's made it more hateful. He's made it more segregated. He's made it more arrogant, more selfish, more snobby than it's ever been in the history of this country. All right? This guy has to be out. He has to be out. I implore you. Can't vote for him again. All right? You can't vote for him. Just can't. He cannot win again. We can't afford it, and the earth can't afford it. Anyway, there's my tangent on him. I could go on forever. But anyway, that's going to be it. I just wanted to share with you how serious climate change is, how it affects me psychologically, physically, and how, if it continues the way it's going, I'm not going to be able to survive on Long Island because my health will be destroyed. So, thank you for watching.